What's up guys, it's Lord Botha here with another video, and it seems like every day we seem to be talking about another Ubisoft L. What do I mean by this time? Well, amidst yet another day of Ubisoft stock sell-offs, it's also been released that Ubisoft has been running a mentorship program that some might describe as discriminatory. This comes to us from that Park Place. Ubisoft mentorship program developed at Ubisoft discriminates against males based on their sex. On the official Ubisoft website, the developer says, "At Ubisoft, we want to build the most creative, diverse, and inclusive teams, and that's exactly what Develop at Ubisoft is all about, empowering and supporting underrepresented genders." Well, hold on a second about that statement. At Ubisoft, we want to build the most creative, diverse, and inclusive teams. And we're going to do that by being exclusive and empowering underrepresented genders. Well, what are underrepresented genders? Because simply by qualifying certain genders as underrepresented, you are excluding the other genders that you don't consider underrepresented. That's not inclusivity, that's exclusivity. It's very interesting how these companies that intertwine left-wing politics with their development teams seem to often forget the difference between the two words. It then clearly states the program provides mentorship opportunities for women and non-binary individuals, students, or fresh graduates with less than 2 years of experience interested in video games to develop their skill sets in game design and programming. The program is open to candidates from the United States of America, which one would assume it has to follow the US law, which prohibits discrimination based on sex, something Ubisoft is clearly doing with this mentorship program. While initially I would say that is true, we also have to take into account, do they have other mentorship programs? Mentorship programs that are accessible to everyone. Mentorship programs that are accessible only to males. These are all things that the court also takes into account should they go through a legal proceeding like this. While we like to pretend that separate but equal is no longer the law of the land, it is often taken into account when hearing violations of discrimination law. If the above introductory paragraph was not enough evidence that Ubisoft is discriminating based on sex for this development at Ubisoft program, the company's website makes it clear that one must identify as a woman or non-binary individual in order to be eligible for the program. Which is funny because they're saying, just in case we weren't clear that we were being discriminatory, we're definitely being discriminatory because here's the list of things you have to be to actually qualify for this program. And one of those things is not be a self-identified male. In a quote from the Global Diversity and Inclusion Officer at Ubisoft, she states that gender equality has been a priority at Ubisoft for a while now, both in terms of increasing the representation of women in the organization and supporting the development of women across different levels of leadership. Thanks to the great work of our talent acquisition teams and the investment of our HR leadership, women now represent 25% of our team, up from 22% in 2020. A third of all hires over the last year were women. Additionally, we have 42% of women on our executive committee and 45% women on our board at Ubisoft. It's also important to note that this program is not new, seeing that there were blog posts about mentees and mentors sharing their experiences with the program going back at least 4 years. Now, Ubisoft has been a company that's been on the decline for, I would say, even more than 4 years in terms of their quality, despite the fact that financially before 4 years ago they were doing quite well. But now it seems that that decline has started to catch up with them financially. And there will be people who argue that correlation does not equal causation. When you drastically increase the number of developers and programmers that are women, and when you have an extensive number of women become executives on your board, and in the last 4 years you see the greatest financial decline and quality decline in your product, you have to ask yourself what has changed. And it seems like the change is they've been hiring a ton more women, which in and of itself is not a problem. The problem is that they are hiring women with inferior talents and capabilities. They're also probably hiring men and other things in between that have inferior talents and capabilities. But the women are of in particular note because they have established these discriminatory talent farming programs to find these women. And it seems that instead of finding diamonds in the rough, they are simply trying to buff coal and make it look like a diamond. Whether this is an actual discriminatory practice is for the courts to decide, should any individual, institution, or the government want to press charges against Ubisoft for that claim. What I'm more fascinated in is the obvious decline the company has been in, the more and more it has moved in the direction of hiring those based upon their sexuality and sexual organs and how they present themselves, rather than their talent and abilities in developing games. In my opinion, there is no doubt a correlation between the two. But these are just my thoughts on the recent developments with this discriminatory practice or alleged discriminatory practice by Ubisoft. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you like this video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, appreciate you watching all of it, and we'll talk to you again later.